If you're looking at Hampstead in 2026 and trying to decide whether it's actually a smart move, then this video is for you. It's not the highlight reel. It's not the best places fluff that I see everywhere. It's a real daily life test. You know, the kind you feel on a random Tuesday when you're trying to get to work, run your errands, or make an appointment without your whole day getting squeezed. My name is Dennis Murphy, a coastal North Carolina relocation specialist. I relocated here myself, and now I help out of area buyers and retirees make this decision with clear numbers and real life logistics, not, taco stands and all that stuff. Here's what we're doing today. I'm gonna walk through the biggest pros and the most important trade-offs of living in Hampstead, North Carolina in 2026. And I'm keeping it fair housing friendly. We're talking about location function, costs, infrastructure, insurance realities, and day-to-day convenience. Then you decide if it matches your desired lifestyle. So let's start with the quick what Hampstead actually is, because this is where people get it wrong. Hampstead isn't Wilmington, and it isn't a beach town either. It's a coastal suburban hub in Pender County that sits on the main corridor between Wilmington and the Topsail area. That positioning is the entire story. It's why the day-to-day can feel easy for some people and slightly more plan your day for others. Now, let's get into the pros and some of the reasons why I moved here. One of the biggest reasons people love Hampstead is the balance. You're close enough to get to Wilmington for work, medical shopping, and restaurants, but you're not living inside a city density. You're close enough to get to Surf City and Topsail Island without needing to live with that beach town seasonality as your baseline. Now, that's a real better life upgrade for a lot of relocators. The day feels calmer. The streets feel more residential, and you can still reach what you need without feeling like everything is an event. Now, another major pro is how much home you can often get compared to other parts of the coastal corridor. Now, Hampstead has a lot of newer neighborhoods and newer floor plans. So if you're coming from a high-cost state like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and you're looking for a home that feels modern and functional, this is one of the reasons Hampstead stays on people's short list. You also have options. Some buyers want a community feel with amenities. Some want a quieter street and more privacy. Some want a newer build, so maintenance is lower early on. Hampstead can offer a mix of both. And that flexibility matters when you're relocating, because you're not just buying a house, you're buying how your week is going to run. Now, let's talk about the trade-offs. The first trade-off is that Hampstead's daily life flow is tied to a main corridor. So if you commute, your easy day and your busy day can look different depending on the timing, traffic, and what's going on the road. That doesn't mean your commute is always bad. It means it's not always predictable. So some people don't care, others care a lot. As someone who came from New York, I don't look at it as traffic. I just see some cars lined up on their way to Wilmington or back to Hampstead. And honestly, it's not that bad, but the Facebook groups will tell you difference. Here's a decision test. If you have to be somewhere at a hard time every weekday, like a job start time you can't flex, you want to make sure you're choosing Hampstead based on your real schedule, not a midday drive that you took once. Second trade-off, Hampstead is growing. Growth is a pro and a con at the same time. The pro is you get more services, more choices, more infrastructure investment, and more housing options. The con is that growth can also mean more traffic at certain times, more construction in certain pockets, and a community that's actively evolving. And the good thing is that the highway is not far from being done, so the traffic people complaining in the Facebook groups, will have nothing to talk about. So some people love that because it brings convenience. Some people don't because they want it set in stone. So the question isn't, is growth good or bad? The question is, do you want a place that's stable and unchanged, or do you want a place that's improving and expanding? Hampstead leans towards expanding. Third trade-off, the coastal money stuff. And this is where I protect people from regret. In coastal North Carolina, the monthly cost isn't just your mortgage, it's your taxes, your insurance, and sometimes wind and flood coverage, depending on the exact property. And this part is not town-wide, it's address specific. Two homes in the same price range can carry very different, insurance outcomes based on elevation, proximity to water, construction details, and flood zone. So instead of making this scary, here's the practical way to think about it. Hampstead can absolutely be affordable, but you need to price it correctly. Don't shop the home, shop the full monthly cost, So if a house only works if insurance never changes, that's definitely not a plan. That's hope. In 2026, hope is not a strategy. Now, let's talk convenience, because this is where Hampstead either wins big or feels like a mild grind. So if your routine is built around the North Corridor, day-to-day errands, groceries, services, Hampstead can feel very manageable and increasingly convenient. But if your life requires you to be in Wilmington constantly, multiple times a week for very specific things, you'll want to factor in the time, cost of those repeated trips. Again, not a deal breaker, just a reality check. So here's a simple version of that question. Are you looking for a home base that's calm and coastal adjacent? Or are you looking to be 5 minutes from everything all the time? Hampstead is more calm home base. Now, I want to hit a couple common questions I hear from relocators in plain English. So the biggest ones I hear are, what about flood zones in Hampstead? And the honest answer is, it depends on the property. Hampstead has areas closer to water and lower lying sections. And it also has areas that are more inland. You don't label the whole town, you verify the address, and that's it. Now, what about taxes? Hampstead is in Pender County, so your property tax structure is a Pender County structure, and your bill depends on assessed value and exemptions. Now, if taxes are part of your decision, you want to look at your likely assessed value and understand that revaluations can change your bill over time. Now, what about new construction? New can be great. It can reduce early maintenance, but don't confuse new with perfect. The smartest buyers still inspect and still pay attention to drainage, grading, and build details, because those are the things that affect comfort and insurance long term. Now let's do the Tuesday test, because this is the truth, serum. On a normal Tuesday, can you get where you need to go without your whole day being scheduled around the road? Now, can you run errands without it becoming a mission? If you're retired, can you go to medical appointments and services that you'll actually use without feeling like work? If you have to commute, does the routine feel sustainable? If those answers are yes, then Hampstead, North Carolina is a strong play. If your answers are, I need instant access to everything and I hate variability, then Hampstead might still work, but you just need to pick the right pocket and set the right expectations. So here's the clean summary. Hampstead tends to work best for people who want a calmer home base near the coast, who like a more suburban feel, and who want access to Wilmington and Topsail without living inside either one. Hampstead tends to feel less ideal for people who need strict predictability, in peak hour driving every day, and don't want their routine influenced by a main corridor. And none of that is hype. It's just how daily life works. So if you're planning a move to Hampstead and you want me to run the real daily life test for your situation, commute patterns, monthly costs with insurance, flood zones and risk checks, and the areas that actually match how you want to live, let's book a relocation planning call. All my contact info is in the description below, or go to movewithdenis.com for tons of information that you're not going to find anywhere else, and easy access to me. I made the same move as you're thinking about doing, so I understand that there's so much more to it than just helping you find a house. And I'm here, and I appreciate you watching my video, and hope you have a great day.